and we have still, up to the very time, received no explanation what is going on. And initially the flight, and I think this caused some hesitation, the flight was to go there.
Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing fine. Now, Jamaica is actually deporting one of their largest minority groups, which are Indians. You might be asking yourself, why is the government of Jamaica doing this? Now, before further ado and criticizing the government of Jamaica, so let's watch this video, then see the reasons why the government is deporting Indians back to their country. Thank you so much.
First up this evening, a response from the Ministry of National Security to a TVJ News exclusive about the status of over 200 Indian nationals who arrived in the country last week. It's been revealed that they are scheduled to leave in a matter of hours. Our reporter Dwayne Anderson has been following the story and now joins us live. Dwayne?
Right, thank you, Archibald. So what do we know at this point? Well, first of all, a total of 253 individuals arrived in the island on the chartered flight. That number includes the crew members. Now, pictures we saw late Monday afternoon showed these passengers lining up in the pre-boarding area at the Norman Manley International Airport. They were taken back to the airport to be sent home tonight. The Ministry of National Security said Monday's activities at the airport were part of the finalization of arrangements for their departure. The government says the cost of their accommodation and return will be the responsibility of the charter company and not the government of Jamaica. But for many observers, their departure does not mean the end of the matter. And many of the outstanding questions were put to the Ministry of National Security, which admitted that the flight which arrived in Jamaica on Thursday, May 2, received the requisite approvals for operating from the Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority. We also spoke exclusively with the managing director of the airline company. His company owns the plane that flew the chartered flight into Jamaica.
Until the very day, I don't know. The citizens we had on board do not require a visa for Jamaica. We brought them there in good intention and also to pick them up in good intention. They were then refused. Until the very day, we do not have a statement from the Jamaican authorities why we are being detained or why we are being delayed to leave again. This is unacceptable, and we have still, up to the very time, received no explanation what is going on. And initially the flight, and I think this caused some hesitation, the flight was to go there, drop off the passengers, the crew does 14 hours rest, then we would have gone ferry flight to Havana, ferry, as I said, empty, to Havana. We have some passengers waiting there since a week now to be picked up and to be brought back to their destination, and then we would have returned to pick up these passengers again and flown them back. This was our itinerary.
He also feels the Jamaican government breached international law when they impounded the plane on the tarmac at the Norman Manley International Airport in Kingston, and it is costing them a lot of money.
We had to subcharter several aircraft to cover the schedule of aircraft, which cost us millions of dollars. Well, almost the same. We normally calculate in dollars, but well over $1 million.
The Jamaican authorities, while not responding to the airline's boss, say they were alerted to the operation of the flight based on what appeared to be anomalies and missing details from its initial permit application. Additionally, the authorities indicated there were 2 passengers on the flight who did not appear on the passenger manifest. This led to investigations by PICA, and based on those checks, the decision was taken by immigration officials not to grant the passengers leave to land in Jamaica. But concerned Jamaicans are asking, why were the passengers then allowed to roam the streets of downtown Kingston given all the red flags? Our news center captured images of them shopping, sightseeing and enjoying downtown Kingston on Sunday. The government said they were to be under police guard, but we did not see any police officers with them. The Ministry of National Security, in response to why they were allowed to leave the airport's precincts, explained that given the duration of the flight, as well as civil aviation regulations for the minimum rest period, they decided it was impractical to have the passengers wait in the plane or at the airport. They were therefore allowed to leave the airport on humanitarian grounds and go to Rock Hotel in downtown Kingston, where they had reservations. No, the matter doesn't quite end there. We were also reliably informed by our sources that members of this group of Indian nationals were attempting to enter Jamaica from as far back as September 2023. Now, the real reason for their interest in Jamaica is not clear at this time, but at that time, our sources say tourism officials were told they said they wanted to visit Jamaica for quote-unquote tourism purposes. Now, the Tourism Ministry, after making checks, detected what it called red flags and said that type of entry was a no-go on their part. Now, we were also told the Indians then reached out to a Jamaican sportsman to lobby the Jamaican government on their behalf for entry. However, the red flags, which included questionable security background of some of the individuals, meant the matter was not pursued. Now, our sources say the Tourism Ministry is therefore shocked that they eventually made it to Jamaica this year. Archibald.
So, still several questions to be answered. Dwayne Anderson covering that.
Authorities are investigating what appears to be a smuggling operation involving hundreds of Indian nationals passing through Jamaica. It all stemmed from the arrival of an unauthorized plane in Jamaica Friday. The details from Dwayne Anderson.
Scores of Indian visitors enjoying the sights and sounds of downtown Kingston on a Sunday afternoon. The issue is, they should not be here, nor should they be moving around this freely unsupervised. We understand the Indian nationals were among 218 individuals who arrived in Jamaica via a chartered flight. The flight, a white and blue Airbus A340, is registered in Germany. It has also since been impounded and remains on the tarmac at the Norman Manley International Airport. The aircraft and those aboard did not have the relevant approval, including the passenger manifest, to come to Jamaica. Law enforcement sources told our news center that the chartered airline also did not state it was arriving in Jamaica. Nevertheless, civil aviation officials allowed the aircraft to land. We were further reliably informed that the flight transited through Dubai and they'd made a stop in the Egyptian capital Cairo, where an Uzbek national was picked up before heading to Jamaica. The Uzbekistan national, based on our checks, is of interest to government officials in the United States. Interestingly, another Uzbek national who also arrived on a previous flight was eventually detained when the authorities started investigating this Indian chartered flight. Now, after this flight with the Indian nationals arrived in Jamaica, there was a lot of discussion among the authorities on how to treat with the situation. It was eventually decided to allow them to deboard and stay at the 4-star Rock Hotel in downtown Kingston under police guard while the situation is worked on. Checks also revealed that the charter had no arrangement to take the passengers back to their destination, which aroused the suspicion of authorities. Which brings us back to these initial images in downtown Kingston on Sunday afternoon, where many of the passengers were seen freely going about their business.
Now, we've seen whatever is happening in Jamaica. Many groups of people have been moving to this Caribbean island. Now, we all understand why most people are interested in Jamaica. However much the US and Western countries are trying maybe to tarnish the name of this Caribbean country, but people are still moving there. We know it's because of the diverse culture in this Caribbean country. But I'm here to talk about something else. We've seen 250 Indians were deported back to Dubai, where they had their flight from. And the government of Jamaica was so suspicious with them. Now, we know Indians are the largest ethnic minority in Jamaica. And when you see a government trying maybe to regulate the people entering the country, it's with a reason. Now, I want to talk to you about some few things you might not be knowing. Now, we know Jamaica is a very welcoming country, just like a few others in the world. However much, when a country is so much welcoming, most people tend to go to that country and take advantage because the government is so lenient with foreigners. In this case, now, you might start having illegal migrants who are now coming to your country, terrorizing your country, and maybe bringing your country to a terror attack or something. Or in whatever case, you know the consequences of having a large population made of foreigners. We all know. Now, in South Africa, the government was so lenient on foreigners, in that the country's population, almost 20% of the population in South Africa are not South Africans. So it's the foreigners who are in that country. Now, people have been going there to seek asylum. Criminals running to South Africa, And what do we see happening now in South Africa? South Africa has one of the highest rape cases in the world. South Africa has one of the highest insecurity level in Africa. With the development it has, South Africans have no job. With the level of development in South Africa, there are so many problems. Power rationing, all these problems, and the majority of the people in that country, plus the government, believe this is caused by the high number of foreigners in that country. So in this case, they have started deporting foreigners from Nigeria, Kenya, and other so many countries. So I know Jamaica will not want to see itself in that position. So sometimes they say it's better to prevent than to cure. And when you prevent, you actually block so many things from happening to your country. Now, we know that India has one of the largest population in the world, if not the largest. So sometimes when a country of the caliber of India, Nigeria, and other countries we know, they might try to actually spread their population all over the world so that it can be managed, it can be well managed, and people can have jobs. So in this case, you might see so many Indians in Africa, in so many other countries in Asia, and in the Caribbean too, and even in Europe, just because it's a way of the tactic of survival. So the same thing happens to China. They are trying to dispose their population to the world, spreading it all over the world. But that's not bad. That's not bad. And I've learned that Indians were one of the first. Indians came in Jamaica during 1845. That's around 200 years. If not 200, it's around 185 years. That's way long ago. Now, if you try to think whatever I'm thinking, that Indians have been in this country, they understand the culture of Jamaica, and others talk as much as Jamaicans talk, with the accent of Jamaica and the patois. But Jamaica can't allow other group of foreigners just to come because their other lot is in that country. They can't allow a large number of Indians to come just because other Indians are in that country. In that case, when you have a big population of foreigners, anything can happen. Anything. Insecurity might go high. Conmanship, scamming, all those vices that comes with big or huge population that do not initially belong to that country. So I think Jamaica is doing this just to control, so that it can't fall, or it won't go the South African way, or other countries. They are learning from other countries that have experienced the same problem with time. It's not the first time we are seeing this. It's the second time. They are actually deporting or sending back group of Indians from Jamaica. We are not used to seeing this happening in black countries, but I think they are learning the hard way from other groups of people from other countries. So in this case, I said they are trying to prevent, than later on trying to deport them or trying to fight them so hard, and which can actually derail the international relations between the two countries. We know Jamaica and India have been good friends because of the population, the Indian population in Jamaica. So however much the Prime Minister of India will always want to keep a good or cordial relationship between the two countries, so that the population that is in Jamaica is well taken care of by the Jamaican government. So in this case, that's why we are seeing, however much they were deported, the government of India did not come out maybe to make demands or give out statements here and there, as we've been seeing with other countries. They took it well, and everything has since been smooth. So brothers and sisters, sometimes when our porous are so bad, I might talk in whatever is happening in Africa and in Kenya. So many political victims, or let me say those people who are running away because of political instability in their country, wars in their country, the refugees found their way in Kenya back in 2006, 2017 and 2018. And since then, Kenya has been facing terror attack. We've been seeing the case of Al-Shabaab attacking so many parts of Kenya, trying to kill people, and all these things, you understand. This is whatever comes when you are too welcoming and when your borders become so porous. That's whatever has happened to Kenya. And we've seen those countries that tend to be strict with their borders, they are very safe. They are safe from Boko Haram, they are safe from Al-Shabaab, Al-Qaeda, and all those groups, because they regulate the number of people coming into that country. And in that case, it is so easy to know who is bad and who is good. Unlike when you allow a large number of people just to storm your country. And in this case, you imagine you have no otherwise. Like, you can't even know who are the good people, because they are mothers, kids, children, and you can't really know who is bad and who is good. And in this case, if you try deporting, you'll be breaching human rights, and the international law of justice will come after you. And such like things is what makes some presidents and some governments to put in some measures to make sure that the borders are not porous. The borders are so intact, no one is coming in, not even on the orders of the US, Russia, France, or any other country. Because we've been seeing some of these countries do really want our countries to go the bad way, as in they give directives to our countries to allow some refugees from fighting countries, from war-zone countries, to our countries. In that case, we get so many different people, terrorists in those large troops marching to that country. Then with time, terror attacks here and there, then the insecurity level becomes so high, and that country is marked on the international global black book. And in that case, they even try to warn their citizens from coming to your own country that had peace until when you are being given the directives. So brothers and sisters, Jamaicans, black Americans, and all these people, be careful, know who is your neighbor, know who to interact with, and always update when you are very suspicious about some things happening in your own area where you stay. Thank you so much for having taken your time to watch this video. I really appreciate it. This is Eli from Africa. One love.